December 3rd, 2024. This is the last video in my 144 series, video number 7. So we followed the moon all the way through its trajectory, which is both moving in a circle and moving up a vortex, traveling between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. So it's like in a cone-like shape, just like the sun does. Okay, so it's traveled all the way through, and I will show you a couple videos of the days prior to December 3rd here. Look at this. This is the 25th phase, starting from day 1 in Sagittarius. So this is Libra, moon right here. You can see they're trying to cover it up already. This one is just below the equator. So it's going back down that vortex now. Happening. This is about 6:30, 6:45 a.m. You can see the sun rising over here, and this waning moon, the light is diminishing more and more, moving into the sun here. In a couple days, they'll be rising at exactly the same time. Now remember, the sun is in Sagittarius. That means the moon will return to Sagittarius where it started, and then it'll be black for those 2-3 days. Be right next to the sun, and we won't be able to see it for 3 days. Then next time will be Capricorn, and it'll be on this side of the sun over here. And that'll be seen at sunset. And that will be the first crescent, and that starts the next new cycle. So hopefully you guys can see that right there. There it is. So it's not the last crescent yet. We still got another sign to go. We still have Scorpio to go, which will be a little closer, and then Sagittarius, and then the first crescent. And now what we have is we have the moon in its black phase right next to the sun, because it's in Sagittarius. So the moon is right there next to the sun in its black phase. So you can't see it. It's not a full node intersecting point because it's not an eclipse. The moon's path is steeper than the sun's path, so they don't always exactly cross. So this is the 28th day, and it's in this position for 2.5 days. So today, December 3rd, it finished up Sagittarius, and then what happens is it enters Capricorn as the first crescent, starting the new cycle. So this is the Sagittarius sun right over that same tree right there. And the moon is right to its left for me. I live in the north, like this as a first crescent. And I'll get a photo of that tonight. You won't be able to see that first crescent right now. This is a little too close to the sun. But by tonight, when the sun starts to set, you'll be able to see that first crescent light. So remember, it was over here. Now it's in its, then it was in its black phase in Sagittarius. Now it's over here, first crescent in Capricorn, which will also be low in this low gate. So this first crescent is the actual new moon because it represents the new month. And the phase where the moon is black finishes up its cycle. So that's why we do have 30 or 29 days in most months. When the moon had its first crescent here in Sagittarius, it starts here, it moves a few days through Sagittarius. Now it has returned to Sagittarius in its black phase, but it's not done yet until it gets to the end of Sagittarius. So if it starts here, this is 360 degrees, but it doesn't end there. It starts here, goes around, and it ends here at 390 degrees. That's when the last moon phase finishes, which is in this black phase. So you have 390 degrees for the moon to complete its full cycle, divided by its average amount of days, which this is a true number, 29.5. This is observable. This is written in the book of Enoch. It is not a 28-day month. You have to include the black moon phase. And when you divide that, you get this number, 13.2. So this is the average degree or angle the moon is making per day. And when you look at that, 1 and 3 is 4, 2 and 2 is 4, and the sun does 1 degree a day, so that's 144. That's why I call this my 144 series. This is a musical instrument. These are harmonic frequencies. Now, in terms of eclipses, there's a lot of incorrect information out there. Anything that's showing you a trajectory of an arc with the moon and the sun converging on each other in an arc is incorrect. The correct trajectory of the moon and sun will be in straight lines. And that's exactly what you see when you time lapse or video a solar eclipse with a camera that is not a fisheye lens. You will see the straight line trajectory of the moon and the sun come together. These are two frequencies coming together, two torus fields coming together. And depending on which sign the sun and moon are in will determine the angle at which that trajectory reaches each other. There is not a third body that enters to make an eclipse. So on December 1st, the moon moved into its black moon phase here into Sagittarius. We know this because it was at a specific height in the sky. When you pull up a star tracker app, as I did here, this is December 1st, the sun here, and you see it has it in Scorpio, and the moon here also in Scorpio. So in its black moon phase, this app, like the majority of the apps on the internet and the majority of websites on the internet, are using sidereal astrology. They're using the constellations behind the sun and moon to tell you what place the sun or moon are in, quote unquote. And this is incorrect. This is not the science of the universe. The science of the universe is the sun's movement and the moon's movement between the tropics. And those are heights in the sky. Enoch calls them gates. So you have gate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 going up the vortex, and gate 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 going down the vortex. And here you can see where they are together here. This should be Sagittarius because it is Sagittarius in the tropical system, the correct system to the movement of the sun and moon. They don't want you to know that the sun is moving. They want you to think you're all spinning around it. So they keep you trapped in this sidereal system, and all the apps are set up to keep you in this sidereal system. That's why this is all in the incorrect spot. And that's why you'll see people on the internet going, oh my God, the moon is in the wrong place. No, the moon is in the right place. The apps are incorrect. So once you learn the tropical system and the heights in the sky, as I've shown through this entire series, it'll start making a lot more sense. Lastly, this is all frequencies and our healthcare system. And this is the system that I personally use. This is my system. I expanded upon George Carey's system from God Man, written in the early 1900s, 1800s. And instead of just taking a cell salt that I was not in the womb for, I take the cell salts based on the angles or frequency that the sun and moon are in. So for example, the sun is in Sagittarius right now, so I'm taking Sagittarius. And the moon has just moved to Capricorn, so I'm taking Capricorn. And then the moon will shift through, so I'll continue to take Sagittarius, and I'll shift these cell salts, these frequencies, throughout the next month. I have my correct Chrism calendar. Now, some of the apps will get the placements correct sometimes, but not all the time. And the reason is because those constellations, we've shifted to Pisces, but we haven't shifted to enough. But eventually through time, as those constellations shift more, the moon and the sun will be more and more out of place, seemingly because of their sidereal system. So you have to remember that the placement, the movement of the sun and moon between the tropics have the same names as the sidereal system, which came much, much, much later, thousands and thousands of years later. The tropical system is the true science of the universe. And interesting that Enoch breaks them down into gates rather than using these names, which creates confusion for a lot of people. So you could say the moon is in gate 1, that would be this cell salt. The moon is in gate 2, that would be this cell salt going up the vortex. Gate 3, etc. And then you have the gates going down the vortex. So that may be an easier way to think about it for you. But what these names represent, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, are attributes of the sun, which the moon is a portion of, as Enoch likes to describe it. So Sagittarius is an attribute of the sun. Leo is an attribute of the sun. It's in the summer and the heat, the cat and heat. These are names of the attributes of the sun. Cancer means balance. It's balanced out from the winter here. Libra means balance. It's balanced out at the equator, 12 hours of light. Aries is the beginning, the lamb that's birthed. So that's here when the sun is at 12 hours of light. Taurus, the bull, is when you're plowing the fields. The sun is giving you the proper light to start putting work into it. Gemini, the gem in eye, this is the first harvest season of the summer fruit. We have the sun starting to peak out here in Gemini. So they're all attributes of the sun. They're not silly animals in the constellations that really don't look like what they say they look like. And this is a tropical system, the frequency of the sun moving between the tropics. Now there is a website you can go to look up the tropical sign positions. It's called astrotheme.com. Open the application. You can put in any day or time there. And then this will show you, here's December 3rd today. You'll see that the moon has moved through Sagittarius now. It did this last night, and it's now in Capricorn. So you'll see that first crescent tonight on December 3rd. December 3rd, 2024. This is the first crescent of Capricorn, starting the new lunar solar cycle. We have the sun setting in Sagittarius right there. The moon finished in Sagittarius late last night, and now it's here in Capricorn, both low on the sky wheel. And this is the first day of the next cycle. So in 14 days, this moon will be full in Gemini. While the sun is still in Sagittarius. And the Gemini full moon will be very high in the sky compared to this Capricorn first crescent. And this is a application that I have vetted for several years now. So this is doing correct tropical positions. Now, just to show you another application, now this is a sky app application. This screenshot was taken just now today at 1:18 p.m. and you'll see that it still incorrectly has the sun in Scorpio and the moon in Sagittarius. So if you were born on December 3rd and you know you're Sagittarius and the sun is showing up here in Scorpio, you should be scratching your head right now. It's because this app, like most of them, use the incorrect system called sidereal system, not the movement of the sun and moon between the tropics. So here in the correct system, you will see this is the sign for Sagittarius, where the sun is at, and the moon in Capricorn in the correct tropical alignment. Thank you for taking this journey with me on my 144 series. Please do watch the series in order because the information does build upon itself.